How's it going, everyone? All right, ChatGPT, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Hey everyone, I'm ChatGPT, your friendly AI co-host for today's stream. Basically, I'm here to help Derek build out that awesome Bitcoin versus M2 chart using some AI-generated code magic, Google Sheets, and AppScript. So let's dive in and make this chart come to life.
All right, so right now I had Claude Code recreate a code set. Let me see, let me double check it.
Sure. Take your time to double check it. Once you've got it all set, just let me know if you want me to go over any part of it or help fine tune anything. We'll get that code running smoothly for the stream.
It's coding right now, so go ahead, feel free to talk, entertain the guests, talk about what we're doing, what we're attempting to do.
Absolutely. I'll keep everyone entertained. So for everyone just joining, here's the fun part of what we're doing. We're basically blending a bit of AI wizardry with some financial data magic. We've got code generated by Claude to help us set up a chart that tracks Bitcoin prices alongside the M2 money supply. Basically how much money is sloshing around in the economy. And what we're doing is putting a little spin on it. We're using Google Sheets and Google AppScript to automate the whole process. That way, every day the chart just updates itself. So if you've ever wondered how to make your own self-refreshing financial dashboard, well, you're in the right place. Stick around and we'll show you how it all comes together.
All right. Claude, go ahead and start coding.
You got it. We'll imagine Claude is firing up that coding engine and helping get all those scripts ready. In the meantime, I'll just keep the conversation rolling and make sure we're all set for the next steps. Let's do this.
All right, ChatGPT, how should I title this project?
A good project title can definitely make it feel a bit more official. How about something like BTC M2 Liquidity Overlay Dashboard? Straightforward and kind of says exactly what it is. Or if you want a bit more flair, you could call it Raoul Pal style BTC liquidity tracker with AI automation. That highlights the inspiration and the tech you're using. Either way, you've got a solid title to run with.
BTC liquidity what again?
Sure, let's rewind that a bit. One of the titles I suggested was BTC M2 Liquidity Overlay Dashboard. Basically, it just means this project is all about overlaying Bitcoin price data with M2 money supply to track liquidity. Absolutely. I mentioned the title as something like BTC M2 Liquidity Overlay Dashboard. In other words, it's a dashboard project that overlays Bitcoin price on top of the M2 money supply data. Okay. It just sums up exactly what the project is doing. So feel free to use...
Yeah, I got it. Thank you. All right, got a lot of code coming up in a little bit. I need the Claude. Here's the spreadsheet URL, so you can access that specific sheet on my Google Docs. Not my Google Docs, Google Sheets.
I'm sorry, but I'm having trouble responding right now. Please wait a bit and try again.
Why? ChatGPT, are you there?
I'm right here.
Damn.
Sounds like you're getting.
Ooh,
Absolutely.
really quick.
I'm here. And
1,200 lines of code created for that one. All right, so we got it saved.
nice. That's a hefty chunk of code.
What's the first script I need to run to activate this script? Or the first function, excuse me.
Absolutely. To kick things off, the very first function you'll want to run is the one that initializes all your data. So if you've got a main function called something like refresh all or whatever you named it, that's the one to run first. This function will usually pull in all your initial BTC data and populate your Google Sheet so everything is set up. After that, you can run any daily update functions or triggers. But start with that main refresh all or equivalent function first to get everything rolling.
All right, we got some errors. Let's see.
Noise. Errors are just part of the coding adventure. Let's take a look at what you're seeing. If you want to read out or copy paste the error message, I can help pinpoint what might be going on. Usually it's something small, like a missing permission or a little typo in the script. Just let me know what popped up and we'll troubleshoot it together.
It's just the setup failed. I'm having Claude refresh it, so it's kind of working through the problem right now. So.
Got it. That makes sense. Sometimes a quick refresh or just letting Claude work through the issue is the best move. Once it's back up and running, we can just pick up from there. In the meantime, if there's anything else you want to go over or prep while it's troubleshooting, just let me know.
Looks like we have a successful execution log.
Awesome. That's what we like to hear. It sounds like things are on track now, and with that successful run, you should have your initial data populated and be ready to see that chart start to come to life. So if there's anything else you need as you move forward, just give me a shout, but sounds like we're in business.
All right, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. Had to make a call to my doctor and my wife. But right now we're back at working at Claude Code, and we're working on 2 different variations of the code. We're trying right now to see if we can resolve some syntax errors so I can save my script. Looks like I have an API key now for the St. Louis Bank Federal Reserve. So I got that, and then I gotta double check, make sure this API key is not going to charge me, and that way I don't get billed for the usage. Oop. I'm not going to get billed for using this API key, am I? I only just want to make 1 request per day to have daily updates for my spreadsheet, so I should be within my limits. You're telling me I have 120 requests per minute? That's pretty good. Yeah, okay. Sounds good. Thank you for the information. Okay. Let's see if it got resolved. Still a syntax error. All right. So for the less technical person watching ChatGPT, explain to me and the rest of the general audience what an API key is and also a syntax error. Because right now I'm working on Google Apps Script. I have Claude Code running through and trying to resolve the errors. Right now I'm doing this kind of vibe coding methodology with Claude Code and trying to do some tests. And right now we're having issues with being able to save on Google Apps Script because we're having some syntax errors. So while Claude handles the code set, go ahead, just give me a little bit of coding information.
Absolutely. Let's break it down in a simple way for everyone who might not be super technical. So first up, an API key is basically like a password or a special code that lets you connect to a service and get data from it. In this case, we're using an API key to talk to something like the Fred database or the CoinGecko service to fetch financial data. It's just a way to prove that you're allowed to access that info. Now, a syntax error is just a fancy way of saying you've got a little typo or mistake in the code that makes it hard for the computer to understand what you want it to do. It's like if you're writing a sentence and you miss a period or a quotation mark, just a tiny detail that needs fixing so the script can run smoothly. So while Claude's ironing out those little code wrinkles, that's basically what's happening behind the scenes. And once those are fixed, everything should save and run just fine.
Thank you, ChatGPT.
You're very welcome. Glad I could help explain that in a simple way. If you need any more coding insights or just want to chat through the next steps, just let me know.
here are the errors running setup.
Got it. Go ahead and share the errors whenever you're ready, and we can walk through them together. We'll figure out what's tripping things up and get it all sorted out.
It's a type error is what's popping up on the execution log. Can't read properties of null. Go get sheet by name.
Ah, the classic type error with a null reference. That usually means the script is trying to grab a sheet by name, but it can't find it in the spreadsheet, so it's getting a null value back. In other words, double check that the sheet name in your script exactly matches the name of the tab in your Google Sheet. Even a small difference in capitalization or spacing can cause that error. So once you make sure the sheet name is correct, that should clear up that type error and let the script find the sheet properly. Let me know if that does the trick.
All right, Claude, I have three sheets. I'm going to copy and paste what each sheet's data and cells looks like. I don't want you to code anything. I just want you to have reference to what the sheet looks like, because I think you're having some naming issues with the sheet references. So this is the data sheet. So capital D-A-T-A, data.
Absolutely. That sounds like a good plan. Just sharing the sheet names and how they look will definitely help me, or in this case Claude, see exactly how things are spelled and formatted. That way we can catch any little differences that might be causing those naming issues. So feel free to paste in what each sheet name and layout looks like, and we'll make sure everything lines up perfectly.
This sheet is charts.
Perfect. Thanks for letting me know. So we've got a sheet named Data and another sheet named Charts. That definitely helps clarify the naming situation. Sometimes these little naming details can cause those null reference errors if the script is looking for something slightly different. Now that we know the exact names, we can just double check the script references, match those sheet names exactly. That will help smooth things out. If you have any other sheet names or details, just let me know.
Thanks for talking and interrupting my brain and my thinking process, ChatGPT, but it's a little bit tricky having you on the backside while I'm working on another LLM, because it's not speaking to me, and so it's working on handling code, and so it's kind of fun as I'm using my voice transcript function and you're picking up what I'm saying to the transcript to get the whisper flow and everything commands out, and then you're just like talking over it and not knowing how the full context of the conversation, so it's kind of funny.
I see what's happening. That does sound like a bit of a juggling act. It's kind of like a multi-LM relay race, and I'm just chatting away on my end without realizing the other LLMs got the silent part of the job. Totally get it. It's like having a little behind-the-scenes dance going on. But hey, I'm glad we can at least share a laugh about it. If you need me to pause or let the other LLM take the lead for a bit, just let me know.
right, Claude, here's the execution log of what I just did.
Got it. I'll step back and let you handle that with Claude. If you need anything else from me, just give me a shout once you got any. Happy to jump in when it helps.
Okay, can we now... Now this thing is set up for gaining the new M2 money supply. I think we need to fix the old data ranges. So the global M2 ranges need to get fixed because it's creating too flat of a chart. It's just literally a straight line on the overlay. And then the Bitcoin prices are old, so these need to get updated. These are last year's. We're looking at BTC spot prices of 60,000, and it hasn't been like that for like a year.
Absolutely. Let's get those ranges updated so everything is nice and current. It sounds like we need to do two things. First, pull in the latest M2 money supply data so we get a more accurate trend line rather than that flat line. And second, refresh the Bitcoin prices so we have the latest spot prices instead of last year's data. We can do that by adjusting the API calls or the data sources in the script to make sure they're pulling the most recent available information. Once we do that, the chart should look a lot more dynamic and up to date. Let's go ahead and refresh those ranges.
Claude, essentially what this script needs to do is on the daily do a 6-month prior API calls for all the price and liquidity movements for the M2 Global and the Bitcoin price, and then chart it accordingly based off of the time frame of that daily spot. And then obviously the formulas and everything are baked into the charting. So hopefully with that context, you can fix the code script so we can do essentially a new call. If we have to do, I think all of those, the 6 month should still be less than my daily limit of API calls. So we should be fine, I think. ChatGPT, go ahead.
Got it. That makes sense. As long as it stays under your daily APR call limit, we Absolutely. So with that plan in mind, it sounds like the script will just need to run those API calls each day for the last 6 months of data, update the M2 and BTC prices, and then the chart formulas will do the rest. And since we're within your daily limit, it should run smoothly. Let's go ahead and implement that approach, and that should get everything charting correctly with the most recent data.
Claude, and this code does do calls to CoinGecko and the Fred API.
Got it. So Claude's
to chart both data sets.
Yep, exactly. So Klon's code is doing the API calls to both CoinGecko for the Bitcoin prices and the Fred API for the M2 data. Once those are updated, both data sets will get charted together just like you want. So with that in place, you should have a nice up-to-date overlay of BTC and M2 on your chart. Let me know if there's anything else you need.
Just watching it code things like this is just fascinating to me. It's like watching the Matrix, like, and just like all you do is just talk to it, and then it just starts going to town, and you're like, so it kind of just shows like how important understanding and being able to read and understand coding logic and data flows and stuff is going to be super important, because the agents and everything can handle the specifics, but understanding how everything is utilized or cross connects or talks to each other is going to be hyper important. All right, looks like it's done. We're going to go ahead and copy this code set and see what happens.
Absolutely. Awesome. Let's see how it all runs. It's definitely exciting to watch everything come together. So fingers crossed the code does exactly what we want. If anything comes up and you need any tweaks, just let me know. But for now, let's go ahead and see what happens when you run it.
Claude, there should be no initialization of any spreadsheet. Like, we already have the spreadsheet we're working on. You should just be doing call functions essentially at that point. And then collecting the data, structuring it, and then adding it to the spreadsheet so the spreadsheet can handle charting.
Absolutely. That makes exactly. So Claude just needs to focus on calling the functions to fetch the data, structure it, and then drop it into the existing spreadsheet so the chart can do its summer. No need to create a new sheet or initialize anything from scratch. Once the fresh data is in place, the chart will update with the new M2 and BTC values. So we'll let Claude handle that, and you'll be all set.
All right, this is going to be my last test, then I got to go close out the stream and work on something else. One more.
Got it. No problem at all. We'll get this last piece set up, and then you can wrap up the stream on a high note. If there's anything else you need before you sign off, just let me know. Otherwise, we'll finish John, and we can head on to your next task.
Go ahead and entertain the guests for a little bit.
Absolutely. Let's get that one last thing sorted out. We'll make sure everything's good to go, and then you can wrap up smoothly. Just let me know what that final piece is, and we'll take care of it.
Well, while Claude Code right now is running through and reformatting all the script, tell the crew or whoever's following or watching what we've been doing.
Absolutely. I'll keep everyone entertained. All right, folks, while we're putting the finishing touches on this, let's just have a quick fun chat. You know, watching code and AI do their thing really is a bit like watching the digital version of a magic show. You give it a prompt, and it starts making things happen behind the scenes. Kind of like
Okay, cool. Check your spreadsheet now.
Absolutely. So for everyone tuning in, here's a little recap of what we've been up to. We've been setting up a neat automation that overlays Bitcoin prices with the M2 money supply, kind of like recreating a chart style that Raoul Pal uses. We've got Claude working on the code side, pulling in the latest data from CoinGecko and Fred, and then updating a Google Sheet so the chart stays fresh. Basically, it's a live coding and automation show and tell. So that's the scoop. We're making a self-updating financial dashboard, and it's been a fun ride.
Okay, it looks like it's working, but M2 kind of sits at the kind of fixed point. So it still presents a straight line. So we're gonna have to resolve this later, but I think it's getting closer. But for now, ChatGPT, go ahead and say goodbye to the streamers.
All right, let's take a look at that spreadsheet and see how it turned out. Hopefully everything's updated just the way we want it. If the chart's looking good and the data's all there, then we've nailed it. Let's see how it's done.
All right, ChatGPT, go ahead and close out the conversations and say goodbye to anyone who's watching.
Awesome. If the spread key looks good and everything's in place, that means we've got it all working just right. So you should be all set to wrap up the stream on a high note. If you need anything else, just let me know, but it sounds like we're in great shape.
All right, bye, everyone. She doesn't want to say goodbye to you guys. Later.